Hello! Welcome to another wellness episode with yours truly. This is your Diet Doctora, Dr. Josephine Grace Chua Rojo. Call me Doc Grace, Dr. Rojo, whatever you want to call me. I'm going to talk about one of the topics na parating tinatanong na hindi masagot-sagot ng karamihan. It is about cheating. Cheating on low carb. Cheating in this way of life, okay? Yung ibang klaseng cheating, let's leave that on another topic at another time, maybe by another speaker. But as for me, we will focus more on cheating sa lifestyle na to. So, thank you for those who are now at 135, 173, and going more live viewers now, 196, 227. Thank you so much. Please share this kung meron kayong mga family members who are looking into improving their health. I think this is the best time for them to really realize na yung nakasanayan nating pagkain is actually not the healthiest kind when it comes to optimizing our health. Maraming mga misconceptions about healthy eating habits, avoiding fats, avoiding salt, avoiding avoiding meat, red meat, yun yung parating inaaway. Avoiding oil, especially avocados, itlog, coconut oil, kahit gata, nililimitahan. And what we were now brainwashed is to believe na yung mga certain oils na hindi natural are actually healthier. Could you believe that? Canola oil, yung mga vegetable oil na galing sa corn, rice bran oil, rapeseed oil. We are now being bombarded with the idea na yun yung healthy. To think these oils are not natural. It's factory made. Hindi mo ma-extract yan ng ikaw lang, ng nasa kamay mo lang. It has to undergo a lot of heat, a lot of chemical processing para ma-extract lang. And nature will never make any fault, okay? It's just a matter of us maximizing kung anong nasa nature, okay? So these oils are really not good. And if you want to get some healthy oils, those are from the natural sources, okay? And this is why we are advocating this way of life. For those who are still new, welcome to our community. Welcome to our page. Thank you to our admins who are currently handling the page and also replying to your queries, to our 265,000 members in Life Without Rice, and also more than, I think, nakaka 60,000 na tayo nearing in low carb feasting and fasting community. Maraming salamat po for always being with us. At yung sa mga baguhan pa lang, nakakapanood pa lang nito, yung topic po natin o yung advocacy natin is to make low carb nutrition available for everyone. We would like to educate. Gusto natin i-educate lahat ng tao na naggustong i-improve yung kanilang health into really realizing that low carb nutrition is the most natural for us. Nilelabel lang natin ito as low carb kasi we want to emphasize its difference as compared to the nakasanayan nating pagkain, especially sa ating mga Pinoy. Normal sa atin kumain ng 3 beses sa isang araw ng kanin. And in between, kumakain pa tayo ng pandesal, kumakain pa tayo ng banana Q, ng kamote Q, ano pa ba? Lahat ng kakanin ata natin is mostly carbohydrates, okay? And what we are avoiding are actually the healthier foods like eggs, meat, no? Isda. Those foods we limit. Kakaunti lang yan. If you can think of our portion sa kain natin, sa isang plato, kakaunti lang yung nilalagay nating ulam. Of course, we understand na nagsimula yan because of economic reasons. Kasi nga, mas mura naman. Pero, saan tayo dinala niyan ngayon? We are now saving like few pesos in a day for food. But in the long run, ano yung kinakailangan natin? Kailangan tayong bumili ng gamot, maintenance medications, and sa totoo lang, mas malaki pala yung magagastos natin whenever we eat those high carb foods. Alam nyo ba kung bakit? Kasi kapag panay tayong nasasanay na nagpo-fuel on glucose or carbohydrates, yun yung kanin, yun yung tinapay, patatas, root crops, mga noodles. International Noodle Day pala kahapon daw. Hindi ko alam eh. Buti na lang Buti na lang hindi tayo kailangan mag-celebrate, especially that we are no longer much attached to pasta and noodles, and we now have shirataki counterpart, which is a low-calorie kind, 0 sugar or almost 1 gram net carbs per 100 grams na portion. So those are low-carb alternatives. Anyway, yun yung importante, that we try to remove those kasi nga wala siyang added benefit when it comes to overall impact sa ating buhay. If you know, if you're well-read or you see other places, or sa karamihan ng ating followers who are actually living abroad, hindi na based sa Pilipinas, makikita mo kung gaano kalaki yung contrast, kung gaano tayo karaming kumain ng rice as compared to other countries. Of course, they also have their own counterparts like the mashed potato, the French fries, yung pasta, or kung ano mang carbohydrate sides nila. And that is expected because ang modern day natin ngayon is already a byproduct of agricultural revolution. So, doon nagsimula yung mass production ng grains. So, top 3 grains in the world, rice, corn, and wheat. Okay? So, yung wheat, yun yung wheat na grain. And anong mga byproducts nun? All the white flour. Most of the white flours are from wheat. So, yung mga nagsasabi, hindi na ako kakain ng rice, pero kakain na ako ng pandesal. Actually, that could be much, much worse because wheat is also high in gluten. Mas mabuti pa nga yung rice walang gluten. Pero, that's not the point. The point is, silang tatlo, they comprise the majority of the food component ng ating pagkain sa buong mundo. It is even estimated na kung mawawala ito, baka halos kalahati ng tao sa mundo ay mamamatay. That's how dependent we are with these grains. Okay? Pero sa totoo lang, if only the people who are dependent on this ay alam na biologically, yung pangangatawan natin, hindi pala kailangang mag-depend sa kanin, hindi kailangan mag-depend sa glucose or carbohydrates lang as a source of energy, we can actually foresee longer lifespan. Okay? So, when it comes to longer lifespan, mas mabuti pa rin yung ating way na pagkain that is natural for our biochemistry, which is actually mostly, hindi ibig sabihin nito forever but majority of the time we should be fueling on fats and proteins. Okay? And reserve lang yung pag-fuel natin on glucose and carbohydrates during harvest season or fruit-bearing season. O yung kung sa ibang country, summer season. Yun yung namumunga lahat. Okay? But other than that, we should be eating foods that are not solely made up of glucose and carbohydrates. Bakit? Because it is spiking insulin. At yung insulin, kilala lang natin siya, na akala natin yung only purpose lang niya ay yung pagpapababa ng ating blood sugar. But now, we know na yung insulin, hindi siya savior. Hindi siya all good. Anything that's too much is bad. In fact, alam na to ng mga doktor that the problem now sa complications, especially with diabetics and people who are not diabetics, but having signs of inflammation, cancer, hypertension, yes, yung pagtaas po ng blood pressure. So, meron kayong mga kakilala, I'm sure, no, na yung walang problem with blood sugar. Pero, yung blood pressure nila yung problema. And that is still related to inflammation sa kanilang katawan. And now, we can see na yung inflammation na pala na yun ay also related to insulin resistance. So, insulin resistance, ito yung situation wherein yung katawan mo, hindi na siya nagre-respond sa insulin. So, yung insulin, hindi lang po siya basta nakakapagpababala ng blood sugar, but it is also an anabolic hormone. Anong ibig sabihin ng anabolic hormone? Anabolic hormone from the word anabolism. Ang anabolism po is to create, is to build. Okay? So, pwede mong isipin na yung insulin ay para siyang engineer or para siyang foreman sa isang construction site. Okay? So, maganda kung meron kang engineer at foreman na magaling magtrabaho, magaling gumawa ng mga bagay-bagay, gumawa ng mga structures because it is a building block hormone only if you are still growing. Like if you are still a growing child, okay, or you are pregnant, or you are breastfeeding, okay, or even to some degree, very old, people of advanced age, kasi kailangan din nila some sort of preservation ng kanilang mass, no? Kanilang muscle mass, okay? But kung normal adult ka na, full-grown adult, hindi mo na kailangang parating merong builder sa katawan mo. Because you are already finished when it comes to a project, okay? Yung kailangan mo lang, konti na lang, maintenance na lang kumbaga. Ano yung mga maintenance na yon? For example, yung pagtubo ng iyong kuko, yung pag-change ng inyong skin, okay? Yung pag-produce ng laway, yung pag-replenish ng ating lining, all of the processes, okay? Pagtubo ng ating buhok. Kakaunti na lang na builder yung kailangan natin. But if you are always making your insulin at all-time high, parati siyang mataas, okay? So, you are actually sending a signal sa katawan mo that you should be building and building and building. So, ano yung ginagawa niya? Especially na supposedly finished project ka na. So, it will actually create certain things that are supposedly not there or no longer necessary. Unang-unang gagawin ng insulin ay yung mga taba sa katawan, fats. Insulin is also known as a fat storing hormone, okay? Or fat prioritizing hormone when it comes to storage. Ayaw niyang ginagamit yung taba sa katawan. Bakit? Kasi yung taba sa katawan, i-reserve niya yun. Kasi sanay na siya na sa ating evolution as humans, there is supposedly cycle of times na meron talaga tayong fasting. Mga panahon na tayo ay nag-aayuno, wala tayong makain, brought about by circumstance. At nasana yung katawan natin with that way na alam niya ano yung gagawin whenever the food is scarce, kapag walang masyadong makain. And we survive. That's why we can survive days, weeks even, of fasting, kung sa totoo lang. For those of you who have been following the page, you know that aside from low carb, I'm also a practitioner of fasting, okay? Personally, hindi ko ito ino-impose sa mga pasyente ko ha, but personally, I believe in the power of fasting. Yung unang attempt ko sa fasting was 4 days and a half, and then I moved on to 7 days, to 10 days, to 12 days, and yung last this year was 14 days of fasting. Now, I know na baka that sounds like crazy o baka extreme na yan sinasabi nyo. Pero I would just like to test your mindset, okay? If I tell you na say for example, isa akong madre, okay? O nakatira ako sa konbento. And then I will tell you that I fast 2 weeks. Diba? Mas madaling lunokin. It's easy for you to accept. Or isa akong monk. Or isa akong pare na nagsabing nag-fasting ako for 2 weeks. Diba? Tatanggapin mo. Tatanggapin mo yan easily. But just because I'm a normal person, I'm an average person, babae ako, wala akong sakit, I'm even a doctor, and I tell you I'm fasting, mahirap paniwalaan, diba? It's because of that mindset. Pero sa totoo lang, imagine if you just think of me as a madre, okay? O yung religious person doing fasting for that specific purpose, you will easily accept that. Why? Because you know that it is possible. What we miss is the idea na yung katawang tao natin is actually very capable of fasting long. Okay? It's just that we are bombarded with this idea na kailangan tayong kumain every time. Na kailangan kumakain tayo all the time, na hindi tayo pwedeng magutom. Okay? And that is not true. With the right mindset and with the right reason and purpose, we can fast and we can maximize the benefits of fasting to our advantage when it comes to our health. Yung fasting, I just posted this morning about the Hippocratic Oath, and if you know Hippocrates, so Hippocrates is the father of ancient medicine, at yung mga famous quotes niya, what we need is just resting and fasting kapag nagkakasakit ka. He even said that to eat when one is sick, okay? Kapag kumain ka daw habang ikaw ay may sakit. is to feed the illness and not the person. Okay? So, that's already ancient knowledge. Okay? That's ancient knowledge. So, hindi po ito bago. Pero, parang bago na lang sa ating pandinig, it's because nobody talked about it before. And, even in standard medicine, like even in our books, kapag na-activate yung fat burning mechanism sa ating katawan, which is supposedly natural and is good, kasi nga, nag-imbak tayo ng taba sa ating katawan for the times that we've been eating high carb, di ba? And that lipolysis or fat burning mode is actually the opportunity na magamit natin yung naimbak nating mga taba sa katawan natin. However, in current books, I have so many books here with me, no? Kasi I'm preparing for an exam. Makikita mo doon that it's always associated with starvation. And it's always connotated as something that is scary and not good. And now we know that it is not true. Kasi, yung fasting, natural talaga yan sa ating katawan. Hindi nga lang siya na-maximize. And now we see, I started fasting mainly initially for just the curiosity of it. Kasi nga, hindi ako makapaniwala. Bakit hindi ko to alam? I am a proud graduate of the #1 school in the Philippines for the last decade. And yet, bakit hindi ko ito alam? Bakit hindi ko alam na yung fasting pala ay pwedeng magamit as an adjunct for healing, as an adjunct for treatment when done appropriately, when done right. So, those are my initial motivations. And eventually, nung ginawa ko yon, I was surprised na yung 5 years ko ng allergic rhinitis na hindi ako makahinga, second day of fasting, nakahinga ako ng maluwag. Okay? That's why kapag nagsasalita ako, I still speak yung tawag nating nasal speech. Okay? Yung parang hindi humihinga. Because I'm actually so used to having clogged nose all of my life. Buong buhay ko, parating clog yung ilong ko. So ngayon, kahit na makahinga ako sa ilong, hindi na ako huminga sa ilong habang nagsasalita. Because yun na yung nakasanayan ko. Anyway, the benefits of fasting is so good na hindi lang siya basta sa health, hindi lang siya basta sa medical side, and also on our mental wellness and mental processing. I attribute whatever successes I have in the last 3 years of my life, the moment I discovered fasting and low-carb nutrition. Low-carb nutrition is the supplement to fasting. Okay? Bakit sila magkasama parate? Because with fasting, you are lowering your insulin. Okay? You are lowering insulin in your body. You are lowering your blood sugar in your body. And hindi ito hypoglycemia. It is just a stable blood sugar. For those of you who are new to the page, I would like you to search on gluconeogenesis. Okay? It's the body's capacity na gumawa ng kanyang sariling blood glucose kung kailangan talaga niya. Okay? At that's the reason why hindi tayo kailangan matakot na mag low carb o mag fasting. Kahit short fasting lang, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. As long as, of course, wala pa kayong iniinom na gamot. Because when you're already taking medicine, especially blood sugar lowering medicine for diabetes, ibang usapan na yon. Metformin, glyburide, glimepiride, and even insulin injections. Pwede pa rin yan, but it should be under direct supervision. It should be under guidance ng someone na very knowledgeable on how to manage these things, okay? Kung hindi pa kayo part ng ating groups, you can join Life Without Rice and Low Carb Feasting and Fasting Community. O di kaya, if you want to do it the guided way, you are more than welcome to join our masterclass. This is a group where weekly, nag-guide tayo sa kanila. We do weekly Q&A, live Q&A. And then, but most important thing there is the structured learning. Every day, you are given 20 minutes of video for the next 14 days. That is for the intensive low carb and fasting basics for beginners and for long-term na din na naglo-low carb. Para makita ninyo, if you are already doing low carb for like 1 year, 2 years, and still, masasabi mong hindi mo pa rin makuha-kuha yung parang optimum health. So, maybe something is not right. Okay? Maybe you are doing something na tinatawag natin hindi yung best practice when it comes to healing. Baka effective yung ginagawa mo pampapayat, baka effective yung ginawa mo para magka-abs ka o sexy ka pa din. Pero if your blood sugar is still fluctuating or your blood pressure is still higher than 120/80, then maybe something is not right. Okay? And that's why we welcome you to join our groups. Our admins are there to help you for the details. So, ano yung nangyayari whenever we're fasting? Whenever we're fasting, we lower our insulin, we lower our blood sugar, but the most important part there, we also lower our inflammation, yung pamamaga sa ating katawan. And another good thing, kapag nandyan na tayo sa ganyang phase, we also activate ketosis or ketone body formation. Ito yung panahon na yung large part ng ating katawan, especially if you are doing it like for 2 weeks at least, no? Nagiging fat adapted na tayo. Anong ibig sabihin ng fat adaptation? So, ibig sabihin ng fat adaptation is when your majority of your body parts, like your muscles, your fats, your liver, your kidneys, your heart, are now recognizing, kilala na nila si ketones at si fatty acids as its energy fuel. Hindi na sila parang naive, no? Hindi na sila nakadepend sa glucose lang. Kilala na nila si ketones and fatty acids at yung pinaka-importanting organ sa katawan natin na kailangang masanay with ketones as a source of energy is our brain, okay? Kasi yung brain natin, ito yung pinakamatagal mag-let go. Gusto niyang mag-hang on sa glucose. Kasi yun yung parang very pleasurable for the brain. Not knowing, not recognizing na glucose, if you keep on fueling on it, yun din po yung makakasira sa utak natin. It can make our brain cells shrink. It can make our brain shrink, okay? Yung nangyayari sa may mga Alzheimer's disease, yung may mga dementia, okay? Those people, if you check their lifespan, their history of eating, hindi yan nakakalampas ng isang araw nang walang kinakaing kanin o carbohydrates, mostly high carb foods like pasta and grains. So, if you are still young, below 40, below 50, and you already think na you are becoming forgetful, parang makakalimutin ka na, try to look at your food intake. Maybe you are eating too much glucose, too much sugar, too much carbohydrates. And when we say glucose, hindi lang ito yung mga matatamis, okay? There is a book entitled Grain Brain, okay? So, grains and brain. And it's now showing na chronic consumption of grains will actually lead to poor mental health. That's why merong mga taong buhay at the age of 90s, 80s, okay? Buhay sila at kumakain nga sila ng rice. So, sinasabi na, okay lang naman pala, mabubuhay lang naman ng matagal. Kahit kumakain ng kanin, yes, mabubuhay ng matagal. But how's their quality of life? Okay? Kilala pa ba nila yung kanilang mga anak? Kilala pa ba nila yung kanilang sarili? Do they even have intact memory? Alam ba nila kung makaka-differentiate ba sila between night and day? Kung anong oras na ngayon? Kung nasaan sila ngayon? Or, they just regress to their primitive mind na parang nagiging bata sila. And the only thing that they care about is food. Makakain lang. And that is, for me, not promising in the long run. Kung yun lang yung iisipin natin. Okay? So, that is why, kung gusto nating mabuhay ng healthy and also at the top of our health, and most importantly, at the top of our brain, I really put premium on emphasizing the need to take care of our brain. Kasi personally, dalawa lang yung bagay na concern ko talaga sa aking sarili. Kung meron lang, kung pwede pa lang magpa-insured, no? Ipapa-insure ko, dalawang bagay lang. Yung kamay ko at yung utak ko. That's also the reason why I don't drink alcohol, because I love my brain so much. And it's not about, like, I love my brain, ha? Because I love my consciousness. Ayokong mawala sa akin yun. Because your physical body can wither, but your identity, your person, it's all in your brain. Yun yung pinaka-central command natin. The moment we lose that, what's the point of living? Okay? And why my hands? Because I love doing things with my hands. I paint, I draw, I write, I operate. Kaya nga ako naging surgeon. Because standard medicine, like internal medicine, pediatrics, I know those are really, really good subspecialty. But that is not enough for me. Okay? Kailangan talaga may gawin yung kamay ko. Kaya mahilig talaga akong kung ano-ano. Mga buting-ting and all that. And ENT is a specialty na kung saan maraming gadgets. Marami kaming mga maliliit na instruments para makapasok kami sa ilong, makapasok sa tenga. And that's why I feel like I really belong in my specialty. And nagtanong nga sa akin, what's your specialty, doc? Sabi ko, by training, it's ENT, ears, nose, throat, head and neck surgery. But by advocacy, it's nutrition. That's why we have this episode. Anyway, when you go into fasting, and then the moment na kakain ka na, you have to stay low carb. Okay? You have to stay low carb. Bakit? Because you don't want to just jeopardize kung ano mang benefit na nakuha mo nung nag-fasting ka. At bigla-bigla let go just because you're so excited to eat that cake or that pandesal. Sorry. Okay? And yung importante is for us to recognize na when you eat a high carb meal after a fasting, okay, you are actually risking yourself of very high oxidative stress. Anong ibig sabihin yan? When you are fasting, your body is at all time lowest sensitivity to insulin. Okay? So, maganda sana kasi yun yung goal natin, di ba? Maging sensitive tayo sa insulin. Pero, imaginein mo na sobrang sensitive ka sa insulin, ibig sabihin yung mga receptors, kasi yung insulin natin, nag-a-act yan sa mga cells. Okay? So, meron yung mga lock and keys there. So, dapat dyan siya pupunta. When you're already insulin resistant, yung mga receptors, yung mga parang mga pintuan para sa insulin, nawawala na yan. Kaya kahit pa mataas yung insulin mo sa katawan, hindi sila maka-act upon or magiging effective sa mga cells. But if you're fasting and doing low carb, your body will become so sensitive na tutubo ulit yung mga receptors na yon. So that's why, kakaunting insulin lang, it will already react. Okay? So, if you do that, all the effects of insulin actually will become double. Ang pinaka-example niyan, kapag kumain ka ng naka-fasting ka, like I experienced this myself before, nung nagsisimula pa lang ako. 2 days of fasting, 3 days of fasting, and then super excited at feeling mo deserve ka ng kumain ng high carb kasi nag-fasting ka, halos matayin ako. And I even have one na sinabihan ng break the fast gently, hindi pa rin nakinig, na-excite, kasi parang nanghihina daw. And then instead of just taking electrolytes and water, yung ginawa, natakot kumain ng tinapay. And what shocked her is the moment na kumain siya ng tinapay, after 15-20 minutes, halos matumba siya, halos himatayin. And hindi niya ito ma-imagine. How come na kung kailan ako kumain ng sugar or carbohydrates, doon pa ako nag-manifest ng symptom of hypoglycemia or yung pagbaba ng sugar. It is because while you're fasting actually, your blood sugar is stable. It is stable and normal level. Pero, the moment you eat a high carb meal, okay, ano yung mangyayari? The moment you eat it, yes, tataas yung blood sugar mo, pero yung kasabay nun ay pagtaas din ng insulin sa katawan mo. And the moment insulin is present, okay, and you are already at all time sensitivity sa effect ng insulin, so magkakaroon yan ng over na pagpasok ng sugar sa cells. Kasi nga, sobra-sobra yung sensitivity. Biglang wide open, na dapat yung pintuan, kaunti lang yung open, biglang na-open lahat ng bintana, lahat ng pintuan, lahat ng gate, biglang open at pumasok lahat ng glucose doon. And so, your stable blood sugar while you're fasting ay biglang nawala. And that is even the reason why nagkakaroon ito ng hypoglycemia, transient hypoglycemia, the moment that a person eats high carb. Yun yung hindi ma-get
ng karamihan na kung kailan ka kakain ng high carb, dun ka pa mag-hypoglycemia. Ito yung mga panahon na even for those who are on low carb for so long, tapos bigla-biglang nag-high carb kasi hindi maka-say no sa inoffer na dessert, for example, no? At inubos mo talaga yung buong inoffer sa'yo. At bigla kang nahilo. Okay? So, people are wondering, bakit kung kailan ako kumain ng sweet, kumain ng sugar, doon pa ako mas parang nagkaroon ng episode of hypoglycemia. Yun ay dahil dyan. Okay? And kapag hindi ka careful, okay, yung isang ginagawa to sustain the elevated blood sugar, kakain na naman ng another sugar to elevate it. And somewhat that is kailangan, di ba? That is a need. But hindi kailangan ng marami. Just a teaspoon of sugar is already equivalent to your 70 to 100 grams of your body's normal blood sugar. Yung iba kumakain ng isang botelya umiinom ng isang baso ng soft drink. And how much is that? That's already equivalent to 20 to 40 grams of sugar. So that's already very, very high. So you are going on a roller coaster. And that roller coaster will lead to oxidative stress. Mas grabe yung impact. Yung roller coaster na pagpataas, pababa, as compared, for example, sa mga hindi naka-low carb, medyo naka-high carb, but not really very high carb. Yung mataas, pero kakaunti lang. Actually, mas worse pa yung impact sa cells, sa oxidative stress sa cells, kapag nag-shoot up ka. Taas, baba, taas, baba, taas, baba. Okay? But of course, the best level would be in the stable, normal blood sugar level. One thing also that can happen kapag nag-cheat ka, kapag parati ka nag-cheat, low carb ka the whole week, OMAD, TMAD, and then weekday, kakain ka ng marami, okay? And then mostly processed high carb meals. You are actually risking yourself of muscle loss. Bakit ka magma-muscle loss? Because kung consistent ka lang sana na naka-low carb, you are already fueling well with ketones as a source of energy. The moment that your body is already used to ketones as a source of energy, hindi na siya magkakaroon ng phase ng marami na nagkakaroon siya ng gluconeogenesis galing sa muscles mo. Okay? It will actually protect your muscles. Kapag naka-fasting ka, tumataas yung human growth hormone natin sa katawan, and that is preservation of our muscles. Meron kasing gap yan eh. Kapag nagka-transition ka pa lang, una, you are fueling on glucose talaga and carbohydrates. And kapag na-deplete niya sa katawan mo, there will actually come a point na kukuha siya sa protein sa katawan mo. So now, initially, the proteins na uunahin niya yung mga walang kwentang proteins. But if you are doing this for so long, okay, so pwede na kapag hindi ka pa, and especially if you are not prioritizing proteins on your food intake, pwede niyang kukunin yung proteins na sa kanyang katawan. So that's why, especially mga kababaihan and those who are menopausal age, mas grabe yung muscle loss. Nakita mo talaga, nangangayayat sila. Okay, no? Yung mga lumalalim na yung clavicles, yung skin nagsasag. Okay? And also, hindi yan masosustain yan dyan. Kailangan talaga you bridge the gap until you reach a certain point of ketosis. Kasi kapag na-reach mo na yung ketosis, the muscles na part will be preserved. Kasi nga, magpa-fuel ka na on ketones only. Okay? So, this phase, this transition, supposedly, kapag na-reach mo na yan, dito ka na. Sa ketones ka na. Okay? Pero, you do that, for example, in 2 weeks. Tapos, tapos ng 2 weeks, you feel like you deserve a reward na high carb. So, actually, you will go back to this level. At uulit ka na naman. And the moment that you stagnate on this middle phase of metabolism, na kumukuha ka ng glucose na ingredients, okay? So, yung gluconeogenesis, no, yung paggawa ng sariling glucose ng ating katawan kasi nga nagka-low carb tayo. Pero, meron na naman siyang transition na baka kukunin niya na naman yon galing sa iyong muscles, okay? Because this is the common mistake ng mga tao, especially if they are losing weight. at yung mga taong yung tinitingnan nila ay yung timbang lang nila, yung scale lang. That is a very risky gauge, okay? Because it's not looking into the quality of that weight. Ano, saan ang gagaling yung timbang na yan? Is it really the fat loss? Or baka nagmamuscle loss ka na? Okay? So, knowing your lean body mass o yung katawan mo na proportion na dapat ay mataas sa muscles or protein side, yung lean body part, yun yung priority. Okay lang kahit hindi ka pang BMI na 19 or 20 as long as your body is composed of the minimum amount of muscle. Hindi ka mababa sa muscle. Okay? Walang kwenta na kahit pa halos malnourished ka ng tingnan, halos yung BMI mo, yung lower limit ng BMI natin, 18.5 eh. Yung mga model, yung mga Victoria's Secret model, yung mga BMI nila nasa ano yan, 18.5. Okay? Hindi yan sila lumalagpas ng 19. So, ganun ka-sexy. Okay? So, walang kwenta if your BMI is 19 or 18.5, pero yung body fat percentage mo ay mataas. Ibig sabihin, you are actually not surpassing that period na kung saan nagpo-fuel ka na on fats talaga fully because you are still stagnant sa midway na kung saan yung katawan mo is in starvation mode. Nangangailangan siya ng glucose but you are not providing, nangangailangan siya ng energy but you are not giving it fully na manggaling sa ketones. And so, wala siyang magagawa but to still get some part of it sa taba, pero kumukuha din siya sa muscles mo. Ano ang mga senyales na kapag nag-fuel ka, gamit yung muscles mo? Nanghihina, walang energy, parating pagod, okay? And parating giniginaw, okay? Parating giniginaw. So, the muscle supposedly can provide you with good enough heat then, okay? And also, hindi makakonsentrate at parating gutom, parating may cravings, o di kaya parating preoccupied o hindi makakonsentrate. Okay? Because if you are truly fueling on ketones or already what we consider as metabolically flexible, okay? Hindi mo ma-feel yung mga bagay na yon. You can still be as sharp, you can still do tasks, hindi ka manghihina, hindi ka mahihirapang magbuhat ng mga kung ano-anong bagay. Okay? And you will see your skin tightening, okay? Hindi siya sag, hindi ka parang dehydrated, okay? Yung mata hindi na malalim, okay? And then yung skin mo hindi nagda-dry because hindi mo kailangan ng collagen. Hindi ako uminom ng collagen kasi ang laki ng tableta ng collagen. Hindi ko kaya. Okay? So, with the right food, you can preserve your muscles and you can improve your health because kapag mataas yung muscle level natin sa katawan, yung lean body mass natin sa katawan, kahit hindi pa kayo, like ako, I don't actually like goal, no? Na tumaas talaga yung muscle ko. I never wanted to look hard and stiff and, bulky. Okay? Okay lang akong soft lang ako. Soft everywhere. But the minimum normal amount of muscle for my height and for my body physique, at least na-reach na. Okay? And that's good enough. Kasi if your body is low in muscle mass, your risk for fulminant infection, na lumala kapag nagka-infection, your body's allowance to accommodate stress ay kakaunti din. Okay? Mas madali yung kayong matabla ng sakit, yung resistensya nyo hindi ganun kaganda. That's the reason why it's good. So for those of you who are avid gym goers, who are exercise buff talaga, I salute you because that's really important. But of course, no, if you want to maximize the benefit, hindi lang basta exercise lang. Pair it with the right nutrition, pair it with low carb, and if you can still accommodate some degree of fasting na hindi kailangang puwersado, you can also benefit from that. So, fasting, as long as you can, as long as you know your goals, as long as you know your limits, okay? and you do it the right way with the right supplementation and knowledge kung ano yung mga side effects na kailangan iwasan o yung mga warning signs na kailangan nating malaman, and know when to break your fast and know how to break your fast, and also yung kakainan natin low carb. Nagsasabi, ano ba yung low carb? So, simple lang. Lahat ng ulam pwede. Baboy, karne, isda, seafoods, itlog. Yun yung pinaka-basic. You can add vegetables, most vegetables. Try to limit or avoid root crops and fruits. Yung fruits, avocado, in season. Kung walang avocado in season, huwag maghanap ng wala. Okay? Anyway, what we promote is just the ones in season. Okay? If you are already at the top of your health, maybe you can eat a slice or kung ano mang prutas nandyan. But generally, if you can still say that I'm 100% healthy, then avoid muna yung mga nasa caution list natin. So, try to look hashtag JGC Rojo food list. Okay? Makikita nyo po yan. And also, it's also in the pinned post ng ating Life Without Rice and Low Carb Feasting and Fasting community. So, to summarize, ano yung mangyayari if you keep on cheating when you are in low carb, and especially how often do you cheat and the kind of food that you cheat with, no? Kung mag-cheat ka na nga lang, yun yung high quality ha, wag yung cheap. Nako, nako. So, wala talagang papupuntahan yan, okay? So, try to make sure that it's worth it kung ano man yung benefit mo. The idea is you've already cleansed your body like for 1 week, for 2 weeks. Para ano? Para lagyan na naman ng basura? Para ma-damage na naman? What's your goal? What's your reason? Always look back. Yun yung sabi natin ni Coach Gibo, no? Always look back to your deep why. Ano yung rason mo? Bakit mo gustong i-improve yung inyong health? Bakit mo gustong i-improve yung inyong lifestyle? At yun mismo yung magiging motivation mo. Ngayon, if ever I feel like celebrating, then I will celebrate with a low-carb treat, low-carb cake maybe. But on a day-to-day basis, wala. I am happy with meat. I am happy with vegetables. I am happy with eggs. I am happy with my low-carb waffles, with my proteins, at kung ano-ano man. And for yesterday and today, I'm actually happy with just water because I'm still fasting. I'm fasting for another reason I will tell you after my fast. Okay? For now, just remember na nasa sa inyo yung kapangyarihan on how you can improve your health and your life. We are only here to support. We provide you the basic knowledge. We provide you the options, and we will provide you the guidance. But at the end of it all, ikaw po ang magpapagaling sa inyong sarili. Okay? Only you can do that. Only you can offer that to yourself. So I hope it has been another episode. If you like this episode, kindly make sure that you follow our page, and also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel para to show your support. Thank you very much, everybody. Remember to always stay low carb so that we all stay safe. Have a good one today. Thank you.